Welcome to Smart Learn Kenya YouTube channel. Today we're going through grade 9 Integrated Science, paper 1, signal. So today specifically we're going to handle section A, which is 30 marks. Then in the next lesson we'll tackle section B. So we shall start straight away. Amina, a grade 7 learner, came across the following apparatus while doing an experiment at the laboratory. Identify the apparatus shown below. So from the answers A, we have crucible, we have tongs, so we have pipette, and the desiccator. This is a knowledge question that tests things that you're supposed to know straight away from your mind. So this apparatus specifically is a crucible, and the crucible is used for heating substances that requires strong heat. Tongs, no. Pipette, no. Desiccator, no. Desiccator is used for drying things, pipette for measuring volumes, and tongs for holding things that could otherwise burn you. Question 2. Peter, a grade 7 learner, saw the following hazard on a chemical container. While in the laboratory, there's a hazard symbol, which is still grade 7 mark on symbols of hazards, and is still a knowledge question. What does the symbol above mean? So we shall start with reading the answers. A, radioactive substance. B, carcinogenic substance. C, toxic substance. D, flammable substance. So these symbols shows a radioactive substance. A radioactive substance is the one that is always of that symbol. The next question. A kitchen worker accidentally spills cooking oil into a container of water. To remove the oil, he decides to separate the two liquids. Below is a diagram showing how he separated the mixture. So we have mixture of oil and water, and oil is being separated from water and being poured to another beaker, and this method is called decantation. This method is called decantation. It's called decantation because one liquid is being poured into another container, and the liquid has settled, and this liquid, remember, is an immiscible liquid because they form layers, they don't mix. So the method is called decantation. Filtration, they use funnel and filter paper. Chromatography is so different. They use a paper chromatogram, which can be circular or rectangular, and crystallization is where a liquid is hit to saturation, then it's left to cool for crystals to form. So automatically the answer becomes decantation. The next question, which is question 4, it says you wake up in the morning and need to prepare breakfast. Which of the following electrical appliances would you mostly likely to use to make a toast? So to make a toast, you need what we call a toaster. A fridge cannot make a toast. It's used for preservation. Washing machine for washing clothes. Fan for ventilation or for air conditioning. So this question is in a topic in a strand force and energy grade 7 work, where we talk about current electricity. Question 5. Sarah is sorting out objects in her classroom based on their magnetic properties. She brings a magnet close to different materials. Which of the following object will be attracted to a magnet? So, wood is non-magnetic, plastic is non-magnetic, and rubber is non-magnetic. So eventually steel will be attracted to a magnet. So materials that are attracted to a magnet are called magnetic materials, e.g. steel, iron, cobalt, chromium, among many more others, while materials that are not attracted to a magnet are called non-magnetic materials, e.g. wood, plastic, rubber, given there. So the next question is question 6, says Moses' mother uses a magnetic strip to keep kitchen knives in place. Which of the following is another real use of a magnet? So here they are talking about uses of magnets. So we shall start with question D, measuring temperature with the thermometer. The magnet is not used for measuring temperature with the thermometer. Cutting paper with scissors, you can't use a magnet for that. Boiling water in a kettle, no. Holding knots in the fridge door, yes. That's the uses of a magnet. Among many more other uses, magnets are used to remove objects in human body in hospitals. They are used in MRI machines. They are used in making of toys, among many more other things. Which are uses of magnets. Question 7. John, a grade 8 student, is learning about the male reproductive system. In his son's class, his teacher shows him the diagram. So this is the diagram of a male reproductive system. We have part A, B, then C, D, E, F, and G shown there. Which part of the male reproductive system labeled in the diagram is responsible for producing sperm? So sperm is produced in the testes, which is part A, produces sperm and hormones. B is the sperm duct, which transports sperm or transmits sperm from the epididymis in the testes to the urethra. C is the bladder, which stores urine. And last but not least, D is the penis, which deposits sperms into the vagina. So the answer automatically becomes A, which is the testis. So the diagram below shows a type of fire extinguisher. This types of, it is not seen, but clearly they're talking about the form fire extinguisher. It's not clear, but it's form fire extinguisher. So there are 5 types of fire extinguishers. We have water fire extinguisher, foam fire extinguisher, dry powder fire extinguisher, wet chemical fire extinguisher, and carbon dioxide fire extinguisher. So which class of fire is put by the foam fire extinguisher? Foam fire extinguisher mostly is used to put class A, to put out class A and B fires. We normally use foam fire extinguisher. Class A, you can also use water, among more others. So you can continue. Question 9. Mr. Wangeshi, a grade 8 teacher, loves to spray herself with perfume. When she walks into the class, the back of the class smells it even when he's in front. Which movement of particle is responsible for this phenomenon? So this is diffusion, which is the process that involves movement of particles from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. The answer is not osmosis, because osmosis mainly talks about water molecules. So in osmosis, we talk mostly about water molecules moving from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. So, Renzi, question 10. A grade 8 learner was writing notes on sexually transmitted infections. She identified a sexually transmitted infection that has the following symptoms. A. Vaginal discharge with bad odor. Vaginal discharge with bad odor. This is in female. This is topic on sexually transmitted infections. Penis becomes sore at the tip. Then urination become difficult and painful. So anytime you see urination becomes painful and difficult, and the penis and has sores at the tip, and the vaginal discharge with bad smell, the answer most of the time and is always gonorrhea, because herpes, the distinctive characteristic sign and symptom for herpes is blisters. We talk about blisters mostly when it comes to herpes. For syphilis, we talk about painless sores, and HIV is a general one, and that has many signs and symptoms. So anytime you see blisters, painful blisters, you know already that this is herpes. Anytime you see painless sores, it's syphilis. And anytime you see vaginal discharge with bad odor, sores at the tip, and difficulty in urination, the answer becomes gonorrhea. Question 11. The diagram below shows a cell as seen under light microscope. The way the cell is, it is irregular, and it's an animal cell, because animal cells, they are always irregular. They don't have shape. So which organelle in the diagram of responsible for controlling cell activities is the nucleus. Nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. So the answer becomes A. Cell wall is not in the cell above because it's an animal cell. Cytoplasm is where chemical reaction occurs. Vacuole, stores sugars and salts. So question 12, Mary classified some sources of energy as shown below. Which one did he classify correctly? So energy is classified into we have renewable source of energies. These are sources of energies that cannot be finished. They can be used again and again. And non-renewable source of energies, which can be depleted. So which one is correctly matched? So coal is non-renewable, which is wrong. Solar energy cannot be finished, so this one is wrong. Wind, renewable, because you can use it again and again. Petroleum, non-renewable, which is true. Natural gas, it's non-renewable. Hydroelectric power, which is from water, is renewable because you can use it again and again. So without even going further, the answer becomes A. This is renewable, but biomass is still also renewable. So the answer automatically becomes B. So from there we go to the next question, which is question 13. Grade 7 learners came across the experiment being carried out. So we have force, a formula which says pressure is equal to force over area. So which of the following conclusion they draw on the relationship between force and area? Remember, when the force is high, when the area is large, the pressure reduces, and when the area is small, the pressure increases. So let's read. When the surface area is large and the pressure is small, the piercing effect increases. It doesn't increase because the pressure is small, so the piercing effect will never increase. So this one is wrong. Increase in pressure reduces the surface area. No. But see, a small surface area has a greater piercing effects when pressure is increased. There is no pressure when the surface area is low. So the answer becomes C, because when the surface area is small, the pressure is increased and the piercing effect is high. So the next question, as learner observe the specimen under a light microscope using times 10 eyepiece lens and times 40 objective lens. What's the total magnification? So the total, I'll just abbreviate it, total magnification is equals to, which I put it as TM, is equals to eyepiece magnification times objective magnification. So we'll put everything into the formula. So what is the total magnification? We are looking for it, we don't have. So it's equals to what? Eyepiece magnification, which is 10, times objective magnification, which is 40, and the answer becomes 400. But remember always to put a times behind your answer. Without it, you are cooked. So question 15, which of the following best describes the effect of impurities on the boiling and melting point of a substance? It's so simple. Impurities will always increase the boiling point and lower the melting point. So impurities increase the boiling point and lower the melting point. That becomes the answer. It will always increase the boiling point and lower the melting point. This point is very important. So question 16, learners were told the model to model the following body organ. Which of the groups showed their model as in the diagram? So this is typically the kidneys. So the question, what identify the diagram of the model? This is this kidney, the model of the kidney, because you can see these are the kidneys, left and right, and at the middle we have what we call the blood vessels, and here we are talking about the renal vein and the renal artery. Question 17. On a basic atomic structure, the nucleus contains protons and neutrons, which is 100% true. When electrons orbit the nucleus, yes, they are on the energy level. Which of the following is not a component of an atom? Proton is there, electron is there, neutron is there, molecule is not a component of an atom. And we have a formula called PEN, which is P stands for proton, A stands for electron, and N stands for neutron. These are the components of the nucleus, and we call them subatomic particles. Question 18. John is studying atomic structures in his integrated science class. He learns that each element has a unique property known as atomic number. What is the atomic number of an element? It's the number of protons in an atom. Remember, atomic number equals to number of protons equals to number of electrons. And that's why sometimes you say an atom is electrically neutral, because the number of protons and electrons are equal. So most of the time it's the number of protons in an atom. That is atomic number. Question 19. Sarah is learning about electron configuration. She shows the elements which are with atomic number 10 is neon. So what is the electron arrangement for element with atomic number 10? So we start with the first energy level, which has 2 electrons, comma, the second has 8. So when we add 8 plus 2, we get 10. So automatically our answer becomes A. It's called electron arrangement or electron configuration. Question 20. Mr. Adam is teaching his class about different properties of metals. Which of the following correctly describes metals? So metals are poor conductors of electricity, not all of them. Brittle, no. Malleable and ductile, yes. easily drawn into wire, and at the same time they can easily be hammered into thin sheets. So metals are non-lusters. No, they are lusters. Lusters meaning they are bright or they shine. Question 21. While talking a walk, Emma saw a car shown below. She was wondering what could have happened to the car. So that's the car. What is the primary cause of rusting? So rusting, we have conditions necessary for rusting, and there are water or moisture, and oxygen or air. So when the two come in contact with a metal or with a surface of iron or steel, it rusts. So the answer is contact with oxygen and water. High temperatures will always accelerate rusting, but they are not the cause. Low pH, no. Exposure to light, no. So from there we go to question 22. Up here, little by little, it's there. During a science fair project, David is investigating ways to prevent rusting in metals. Which of the following is not a method of preventing rusting? So painting, yeah, will prevent rusting. Galvanization, yeah, prevents rusting. Oiling prevents rusting, but heating cannot prevent rusting. We have other methods of preventing rusting like greasing, sacrificial method, electroplating. All those are methods of preventing rusting. So yeah, the next question, which of the following is the hardest part of a tooth? Hardest part of a tooth is called an enamel. Remember, all the pulp, the dentine, and the bone are all parts of the tooth, but enamel is the outer part of the tooth and is the hardest. It's made up of calcium. Question 24. Tim is studying properties of different metals and their uses in everyday life. He came across an electrical wire cable shown below. Which of the following metal is commonly used for making electron cables? Most commonly to make electron cables they use copper, but aluminum can also be used to make electrical cables, but copper is used mostly because it's light and cheap at the same time. Question 25. Lily is investigating the properties of water in science class. She tries to understand the difference between hard water and soft water. What is the primary difference between hard water and soft water? Hard water contains minerals, and these minerals include magnesium and calcium ions, where soft water does not contain. So hard water leathers easily. No, it's a property of soft water. Soft water leads to blockage of pipes. No, this is a property of hard water. Soft water contains high mineral. No, this is a property of hard water. So eventually D becomes the answer even without reading. And what does it say? Hard water contains the solvents like magnesium and calcium, which is 100% true. To help her family reduce the hardness of water, Rachel is trying to figure out the best way to remove temporary hardness. Which of the following method is used to remove temporary hardness? So in removing temporary hardness, boiling is the best method in removing what we call temporary hardness. We can use also other methods like distillation, adding washing soda, but boiling is the best in removing temporary hardness. Question 27. Lucas is studying the periodic table and wants to identify which elements are metals and which are non-metals. Which of the following element is a non-metal? So copper is a metal, aluminum is a metal, zinc is a metal, carbon is a non-metal. Carbon is a non-metal. And as a good learner, you're supposed to know the uses of all these elements. Question 28. Alex is curious about electrons and their behavior in atoms. He's wondering what charge they carry. What is the charge of an electron? What what's the charge of an electron? So an electron, E is negative, a proton is positive, while a neutron we say has a zero charge. No charge. So what's the charge of an electron? Negatively charged. An electron is negatively charged. So from there we go to question 29. Annette was classifying modes of nutrition in animals, one of them being saprophytic mode. Among the following, which one depends on the kind of nutrition? Saprophytic mode of nutrition is where animals feed on dead, decaying matter. So lion, they have a complex mode of nutrition which is holozoic because they feed on complex substance. Tapeworm, they are internal parasites, so it's parasitic. Human beings are just like animals. They depend on holozoic mode of nutrition. So eventually, the answer that makes sense is vultures, because vultures will always feed on dead matter. Apart from saprophytic, we have other modes of nutrition like holozoic. We have holozoic is where animal feeds on complex substance. We have parasitic, where a parasite lives on a host, idiotic, and we have internal or external parasitic, and then last but not least we have what we call symbiosis. Symbiosis is a mode of nutrition where living things mutually depend on each other. Question 30. Juma mixed a piece of zinc and hydrochloric acid. So zinc is a metal, hydrochloric acid is an acid. What happens when a metal reacts with an acid? So when a metal reacts with an acid, hydrogen gas is formed and a salt. So for example, when zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, there's formation of zinc chloride and a gas which is hydrogen gas. Thank you. Our next lesson will be on section B of this paper, but today we are stopping there. Please like, share and subscribe.